One of the funniest games I've ever played, filled with laugh out loud moments, totally brings people together. It's the explanations afterwards that make it so funny and so entertaining. It's terrifying and it really puts the stress up, but that's totally the point in this game. This game makes absolutely no sense, but I hate party games. I've never really felt like my parents have ever been disappointed in me in life, but that game, they looked at me in pure disappointment.
Fez, why do you not like bunnies?
I do like bunnies, that's not true. But you're just naturally very disinhibited anyway, aren't you?
How dare you call it a party game?
I've never not wanted to play that game. When it comes to the table, I'm just like super excited. I'm like, yes.
Top 10 party games, Fez. Are you in a party mode?
Well, it is my birthday on Monday.
It is your birthday on Monday.
What have you brought me?
Party game?
A party game? But I hate party games.
You hate party games. Well, not after today, you're going to love them.
Well, I actually struggled to find 10 party games I actually enjoyed.
Well, I love party games.
Okay, so is this the disclaimer that I like playing strategy games and Euro games? There's so many party games on the market. It's actually really hard to find really good ones. We always go to BGC to sort of find our games and find some inspiration. I browsed for a long time before I really found my top 10, and then I even had to look elsewhere. Hopefully, if you actually want a good party game, you'll find at least 10 great suggestions from this list.
From my side.
No, yours will probably suck. It's just going to be like Trivial Pursuit.
That's a good game. I might have to make some changes.
What is this hat you're wearing?
Well, you don't like the hat? I thought I'd go for a different look.
Is this the Tom Vassell look, is it?
I'll let Tom Vassell have that look.
Should we start?
Let's start. First of all, before I even begin, I just want to go through kind of the reasoning for my list. The main point for me was it's a party game. Easy rules, just something anyone can get involved with.
I'm going to have to cross off a few of mine on my list. Is Caverna too complex for a party?
Well, maybe. Because it's a party, I wanted it to be kind of drink-friendly games, if that's your kind of thing. I wanted it to have a minimum of 6 players at least. Final caveat for this list was laugh out loud moments.
Most of mine meet your criteria.
Okay, that's good.
So I think you quite nicely defined what a party game is. And I totally agree with you. Party games and drinking games aren't necessarily the same thing. I wouldn't necessarily recommend all of these for like drinking nights and stuff, but there's definitely overlap in those two.
All right, my number 10. I feel like this is probably on your list. It's Secret Identity.
Yeah, Secret Identity it's a really awesome game. I like it, but tell me about it.
It's like another game, which was called Pictomania, but minus all the drawing from Pictomania. So yeah, if you're not comfortable drawing, I think this is a great choice for you. The core of the game is you're trying to guess your opponent's identity. So you've got a bunch of people around the table. You've got a bunch of things on the table with names of different celebrities. If you're not the kind of person who knows a lot of celebrities as well, they're usually quite defined kind of celebrities, and they're usually kind of like, okay, if this is a footballer, or this is a sports person even, and this is somebody who's maybe in movies, this is somebody who's maybe a singer, so you don't have to worry too much about the exact identities or knowing a lot about the celebrities. Sometimes it helps though, it can help.
It seems to have a pretty sort of broad selection of celebrities, so I think there's probably at least, a handful of celebrities that most people will know. It's a great one. I was pleasantly surprised by this one. I think it was a couple of UK GEs ago that we saw Hachette playing this. Our good friends over at Hachette. We sat down and played it with them. And I think as soon as you get hold of it and you see the sort of production where you're popping in the clues in there and the keys, it just works so brilliantly. I think it's a game that definitely has that broad appeal. It's one of our best sellers as well in terms of party games. Might be one of the best sellers.
Definitely one I really enjoy. And you mentioned with the keys there, I think that's a really cool element. The idea is that you're passing a board around, so you've got your celebrity that you're trying to give clues for, and then your opponents are obviously trying to get you to guess theirs. And then you select with the keys which one you think it might be. So if you think it's celebrity number 1, you put key number 1 into that slot, and then you pass along and it keeps going around. But the clues are really interesting as well. So you get shared out some clues. They're not exactly precise clues. They can be quite obscure as well in the way that you're trying to identify. And it's not just giving a clue of this is what that person might be. It might be a clue of this is what that person isn't. So, the balance of the game is done really well.
The scoring is so important. Yeah. I just ignore it, mostly because I lose all the time. I'm just not very good at these sort of games, but that doesn't really matter because it's the most fun part is when you put your clues together and finally everyone sort of takes their guesses together, and then you reveal it, and then you're like, well, this is what my thought process was, and everyone's just looking at you thinking, what, this is absolutely ridiculous. That's how did you come up with that? And it's the explanations afterwards that make it so funny and so entertaining. That's why it works well. Cool.
All right.
Is it my turn?
You're number 10.
Okay. This is going to be way more exciting than your list.
Okay.
So my number 10 is a game that we've talked about on a previous video, possibly more than one previous video. It's called Monikers. It's a game that's been talked about a lot online, probably thanks partly because of a great video by Shut Up and Sit Down. So Monikers, for anybody who's not aware of it, it's a game like charades, except it has some extra stages to it, and it uses some prompts on cards. That you're essentially buying this box which has a bunch of prompts on cards, and it gives you some really basic rules of how to play charades, but it defines itself with 3 separate sort of phases of the game. So you'll take a prompt in the first phase, and you can say whatever you want without saying the actual word on the prompt, and sometimes it even gives you a description of what the prompt is, and you can say the description if you want to, or you can say anything else but those actual words. And then the second round, you say one word. Obviously, it's not the word that's actually on the prompt. Your teammates have to guess. Final round, you're acting, but you can't say anything. It sounds very sort of, okay, that just sounds like charades. The charm of this game is how absolutely absurd and hilarious those prompts are. I'll put a disclaimer in here saying that this is definitely one of those 17 plus kind of games you don't want to play this with your parents.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what kind of parents.
Yeah,
or
I guess
what kind of
so.
relationship you have with your parents.
I guess so. If you get the right group for this, the absurdity is what makes this so funny. Sometimes it's like General Butt Naked, where it's just like, one phrase, right? Sometimes it's like a whole sentence.
Yeah.
Like a few sentences where you have to say it word by word. Like literally every word in that sentence has to be perfect.
Yeah.
And it sounds really difficult to begin with, but actually you play with the same set of cards each time, so you have the element of memory in this. So having a good memory definitely helps. And when you play through the cards so many times, you will definitely remember some of those cards. And then it's that game of, can I say that line perfectly before my opponent does? It's one of the funniest games I've ever played. It's filled with laugh out loud moments. Yeah. And it just totally brings people together. This works with people who are total non-gamers or people who are just into light gaming. Works really well as a gateway game. It's awesome.
It is cool. It is a really cool game. My number 9 is Decrypto. Okay, a couple of things I'm going to say about Decrypto.
Okay.
Game itself, you're working in teams. Game of giving clues to your teammates, trying to decipher what the code is. So you'll have like 3 words in front of you, with each one corresponding to a different number, and you're trying to give the code to the number. It could be a clue for number 2 and then number 1 and then number 3, because you want to give the code for 2, 1, 3. But you have your opponents also listening in on these secret words being given around, and they're making notes. And as soon as they can decipher your code, it's game over. It's very interesting in how you have to think about the game. Am I giving a clue which is maybe too similar to what's already there? And then is it going to be easy for my opponents to work out? That decision making is really interesting. I'm going to put this out there. This is probably my favorite game on this list. Like,
why isn't it number 1?
Why is it not number 1? Because of my caveats. It's not the easiest game to explain in the world. It's one of those you have one playthrough and then it's like, I get this now. Yeah. So it's a heavier rule set compared to other party games. Other reason is you don't want to be drinking during this game. I don't think it's a drinking type of game. So it might not work in every party situation. But this is the best party game in my opinion. As a board gamer, I think it's probably like the greatest game out there. And from a party game standpoint, as a party gamer and for someone casual, it might not be the best choice. And that's the only reason. I'm kicking myself slightly. I wish I even put it slightly higher than this.
I have some thoughts on Decrypto. I do really like it. I will quickly mention that it is the number 1 party game on BGG.
It is, for good reason.
For good reason. And I think it deserves that spot. I've enjoyed it every time I've played it. I think that first turn is definitely a hurdle for some people. Like I just see so many people just like totally baffled by it, and they're just staring at the board thinking, this game makes absolutely no sense. Yeah. But it's also really satisfying when it does suddenly click on the second round. And everyone's like, wow, this is such an amazing game. It's brilliant, isn't it? I've really enjoyed all the time I've had with it, but there's other similar games, I think, which I won't try not to reveal just yet. That probably just have a slightly slicker experience. Yeah. But I still recommend it. I think it's an awesome game.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And the production on the game is just brilliant. The transparent, the red transparent.
Scorpion Mask never fail in that avenue, do they? They're like every game that they produce, like look at Sky Team, which is absolutely brilliant, and it's got a great price tag on it. So my number 9 is So Clover.
Oh wow, okay, cool.
All right, sounds like you didn't put this one on your list.
It was so close.
It's so close. So Clover, for anybody who hasn't played it, it's a team-based word game where you're given a plastic 4-leaf clover and you're given a series of cards which are in a square ring, and you have words on each of those. So essentially, you'll have 4 sides to this clover, and then you have a pair of words on each of the sides. And what you have to do is write a word on each side of the clover, which links those 2 words on each of the sides. Then you mash it all together. Then you put a random word card in there, and then your team has to try and guess the arrangement of your clover and words. I do feel like this game can sometimes be a little bit of a miss if somebody doesn't necessarily engage with it that much. It can be a bit of a miss, and it kind of, because it's cooperative, then it can kind of let people down. But when it does work, this works so well. I feel like it doesn't get enough love, this game. It was surprisingly in the BGG top 100, but it was in like the top 20 party games or something. I can't remember the exact space. There's clearly some people online who really liked it. It wasn't like flying off of our shelves when we stocked this one, but when we played it, we're like, yeah, this is great. And most people who showed it to have a really good time.
Yeah, it's one that we actually, of party games that we own, it's probably one of the most played ones as well, to be fair.
It is, yeah. Is it because we keep bringing it to the table?
Yeah, it's probably us.
But people do enjoy it. It's not usually a letdown for people. Like most party games, it's not particularly expensive. And it looks really cool, doesn't it? It's like the way that they designed it with 4-leaf clover, big plastic 4-leaf clover. It's a fun one to look at.
I considered the game. The only reason I think I didn't put it on is it is one of those ones where it's a bit more thinky, where you kind of stood around the table looking down like, and there's a group of you kind of all staring down trying to work things out. And I think it just lacked in a bit of the laugh out loud. So that was the only reason I didn't put it in my list. But it has had some really funny moments. When you think, oh, I've got this, we've got this, yeah, team, high five, and then it turns out you've got none of them right.
You're totally wrong. Yeah. So the person who the team's trying to guess for, they have to stay totally silent, can't give any clues or anything like that. But some of the best moments are just watching their reactions. Yeah. It's just like, oh, why did I put that there? You notice that you've made a really stupid mistake in hindsight, because there's 2 words that are really similar on it, and then it could easily be either of those words, and you only realize afterwards, and then you're just trying to keep a straight face while everyone's made the worst guess ever. It's just like absolutely awful. It's definitely more thinky, but it has some funny moments too. If you like word games, you're probably going to really like this one. So
Number 8.
Well,
we've spoken about it. It is Monica's. There's not much else I can really add to this. I think I've gone through it pretty well. Moving on to your number 8.
So I've suggested at this already so far. Number 8 is Codenames. I don't think it would be a list of party games without Codenames. I think Codenames is just like one of the original great party games. And I think I prefer it to Decrypto. You should own both those games, right? If you want a good collection of party games, it's one of the very few games we can get our dad to play.
Yeah, I know, right?
He'll probably play Scrabble with us.
Scrabble, yeah, that's it.
He'll play Codenames. And I don't think there's really any other games that he'd really want to play with us, apart from Trivia.
Yeah.
He'd probably play Trivia with us. So, Codenames, for those that haven't already played it, is a team-based cooperative game where you take turns trying to make clues. So you have this grid of words. You'll have the 2 people who are giving the clues. They can see on a little standee that nobody else can see what are the clues that each team is trying to go for. So you're trying to, you might have a couple of words, and you're trying to think of something that links those words. So the clue that you can give is one word followed by a number. The one word is the word that links those clues, and then the number is the number of clues that are linked to the word that you've given. And that's it. Like, literally, you can learn to play this one in less than 5 minutes. People understand it. They'll probably understand it from the first round. Give one example, and people are hooked in this game. It's pretty much always landed. I've never seen this one not land. The design is just beautiful and simple. The theme is so unimportant to this, but it still has quite a cool theme. I think that's one of the ways that sort of games like hook you in, right? That's why it's so important for me for a game to have theme, because I feel like that's the initial hook. And this one, it does it all. And you're surprisingly good at this game. So I've seen do the biggest clue I've ever seen in this game. It's absolutely nuts. I don't know how you did it. I never even thought you'd be very good at these sort of games, but you're surprisingly good at these sort of games.
Yeah.
And
I'm good at Scrabble, though.
Are you good at Scrabble?
I am good at Scrabble.
Yeah, see, I'm more of a math kind of guy. I feel like maybe you're better at the words. Anyway, we were like 2 turns in, and then you did a 5. And I thought, no, nobody's going to get this. This is way too broad. He's never going to get like a 5. And then they got it, and you won the game in like turn 2. It absolutely does. Some of the games can last quite long. Sometimes games are just like dead quick, but you usually have a few games in this one. I've made some really stupid mistakes that are really embarrassing, but that's one of the funny things about this game, is making those stupid mistakes. It's usually linked to the fact there's one card, which is the assassin card. Now, the assassin card is one card you must avoid. Yeah. One clue that if your teammates ever select that clue, you immediately lose the game. Yeah. And I've just been staring at it like, yes, I've got the most amazing clue. It's trees and 3, right? And then you look at it, and assassin is literally like a leaf or something. They're like in the first one, oh yeah, we got this. And they put it down on that, and I was just like, oh, sorry. I've never really felt like my parents have ever been disappointed in me in life, but that game, they looked at me in pure disappointment. It was.
So did I. I'm glad I wasn't on your team.
It's absolutely brilliant, and there's lots of stories from Codenames. It works more than just a party game. It works as a filler game too. It works great as a party game too.
Yeah.
It's a much deeper game than it looks like on the surface, and I think that comes down to really amazing design. We've got Vlada.
Oh yeah,
One of our favourite designs. Yeah, it's a Vlada game. Yeah. Which is a bit strange that he's basically done like a party game when.
And then he's got Mage Knight on the other end of the
Yeah,
spectrum.
like basically all of his other games are like huge, crunchy Euro games and stuff like Mage Knight. Like a real, true designer.
Codenames. I think that's a great pick. And I'm going to say that I didn't put it in my list.
Because you knew I was going to pick it, didn't you?
Somewhat. And obviously I chosen Decrypto as well, which... So, they kind of go in hand, those two games. They are very different, both. The word clue giving element of it, they were very similar. And I'd also say that Codenames, even though it's not even on my list, is probably like my second favourite of these games that have been mentioned thus far. So, I need to rethink my list, I think.
I mean, they're two games everyone should own. If you're even slightly into board games, you're probably going to love both of them. All right, let's go on.
Oh, number 7. Oh, this is where you're going to like this one.
Go on.
My number 7.
Yes.
Is Dixit. Dixit. Look, Fez doesn't like this game. Nobody knows why. Well, actually...
I will explain why I don't like this game, but why don't you tell everyone why you like this game?
Alright. So, in Dixit, you become a storyteller. And I think that's one of the most amazing things about this game. It really elevates the kind of creativity for a party game as well. I think that is absolutely brilliant. The artwork on the cards, absolutely amazing, stunning artwork on these cards. The gameplay itself, you play as bunny rabbits. Come on, you need bunny rabbits jumping around. There is no thematic reasoning for why you have bunny rabbits, but the bunny rabbits, they're cool. But you're trying to basically get 30 points to win the game. That's the aim of the game. And the way you do it is that you select a card from your hand and you come up with a clue for that card. You put it face down, and it could be a word, it could be a phrase, it could be, you could sing a song, tell a poem, whatever you want. You're not limited on this one. Then all your opponents will give you cards which they think is similar to what you've said, your word or phrase or whatever it may be. And then you shuffle them up, and then you pair them all face up. The scoring element is very interesting on the game. You want people to guess your card from the clue that you've given, but you don't want all of them to guess, and neither do you want none of them to guess. If all of them guess, you score 0 points. If none of them guess, you score 0 points. So you're trying to find this balance somewhere in the middle. Now, your opponents can also score if their cards are selected, and that's where it becomes really interesting, where you become really innovative in what you are trying to give as a clue. I love it. I think it's a brilliant game. And bunny rabbits.
Yeah, who doesn't like bunnies?
Bunnies. Fez, why do you not like bunnies?
I do like bunnies. That's not true. I'm not in love with this game. Here's my deal with it. I do think it's a really beautiful game. I do still recommend this game to lots of people. I don't necessarily choose it to come to the table, and I might move to a different table if it does come to the table. That being said, I have played it, and I've had a reasonable time with it. The way that it scores, like, I have a big problem with it. I think it's that sense of vagueness. It's a little bit difficult for me to explain, but it's almost like there isn't this clear objective that this is what you're trying to do. You're sort of, you're not here, you're not there, but you're sort of trying to be somewhere in the middle, and you're trying to be vague. I suppose this just comes down to me at heart just being like a true Eurogamer, where it's just like, you know what, logic will get me through all of this, but it's one of those games that actually logic doesn't get you through it, right?
No logic in this game.
There's no real logic to this game, but I think maybe that's why it appeals to lots of people, because there's lots of people who aren't really like me. If you're creative, you're probably really going to love this game. If you have like a creative background, I think you'll probably really, really love this game.
And it's a really easy game to just get going on with as well. The rules are so simple in this game. You literally, within I think 30 seconds, you can explain the rules to your group and you're off. I will say one of the disadvantages, sometimes the cards just do not play out for you. You might get a set of cards with a clue that's given and none of them make any sense to that clue. You can be doomed based on what cards you are given. Other than that, I think I don't really care about the scoring. It's the stories you hear. You're always active within the turn as well. You never sat back doing nothing in this game. You're always involved in it. That is also very key for a good party game. Let's hear your number 7.
It's much better than Dixit. And I think you're going to agree.
Okay.
It's Rhino Hero.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay. So I think in terms of strict categorization, this might come under children's games. But those games often work really well if they're quite quite fun for adults to play in party situations. Rhino Hero is dead simple. It's kind of like reverse Jenga, and you're playing it with cards, and it has this beautiful theme of a rhino superhero. If you're not sold on this already, then you need to either grow up or become a child again.
I mean, I think that's one of the best things about Rhino Hero is, yes, it's a kid's game, but it also turns every adult who plays it into the biggest kid ever. It's just, it's great like that.
And it looks amazing. It has this beautiful board presence because you're building this tower as you're going up, and it's all very colourful, and you've got the Rhino meeple. Even more so for, was it Super Rhino Hero?
Super Rhino.
Yeah, we played that once. We don't own a copy of it, but that's kind of like the more grand version of it, and that looks really impressive once it's sort of built up. You keep building this tower, you have some wall cards, and you have some roof cards, and there's some different variations. You're trying to get rid of your hand, and you're moving the meeple, the Rhino meeple, up along as you go, and it can become very tall. It actually doesn't take up a lot of space. So I was over at the Skipton shop the other day. We were fully booked, so we didn't have any tables, and I had a couple of friends that were there, and I said, oh, you know what, we can probably just play a Rhino Hero up on the counter. And that's all the space you really needed. Like, you can just take it out and play it and have a lot of fun. And they did. They had an amazing time. They really, really enjoyed it. And they're both adults. But also works great as a children's game. It seems like a good one to have in your collection, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Not the easiest one to get a hold of anymore.
Yeah, I think Habba are going through a thing.
Unfortunately, yeah. So if you do find this, I'd really pick this up. I think it's the best of the Habba games.
Grab it whilst you can. Yeah. Number 6. My number 6. Don't get got. This is almost the definition of a party game, and it is whether you have a party which is non-board game related or a party which is just a party, yeah, full of drinking, full of everything. It works on all levels with multiple players. I mean, the player count from one single box is 10, but it doesn't matter. By another box, you can get 20 people playing. It's like a meta game going on within the rest of the party. So within the time frame of the party, you have these 6 missions to complete, and it could be just things that are along the lines of get somebody to say a certain word or get somebody to comment on a certain thing. I don't want to give specifics away. Some of them are absolutely hilarious. I mean, I will give one away. So I had one card where it said, get someone to comment on the fact that you've changed your t-shirt or changed a piece of clothing.
I remember this moment. This was absolutely hilarious.
Give you the setting. We were playing the game during a board game evening that we'd set up for friends.
It was quite a large gathering. It was kind of like a board game gathering that we did for like Christmas or something like that. We decided to. We had quite a lot of people there.
Yeah. Christmassy party that we had, and we had quite a large amount of people. In fact, there was more than 10 because we didn't have enough for everyone. The good thing was that I was at home. Obviously, the party was at our house. I was given the challenge of, get someone to comment on that you've changed a piece of clothing. And I was like, oh God, how am I going to do this? And then I ran over to my bedroom, changed t-shirt, came back and just sat down, like amongst everyone, like waiting. And then somebody turned over like, did you change your t-shirt? I was like, aha, you got. And it's just those aha moments and trying to get other people in. It creates a tension in that evening as well, when you're playing it, because everyone's like, who's trying to get me?
See, I think this is one of those games that sort of favors people like you again, because like I like to think of myself as quite a sensible person, right? If I do something strange or weird, people are probably going to comment on it, right? But you're just naturally very disinhibited anyway, aren't you? So like, if Sahd just gets up and changes his t-shirt randomly, nobody's really going to question it, and I didn't question it. If somebody else would question it, I'm just like, well, it's just Sahd. Oh, did you not like spill water on your t-shirt or something like that?
Yeah, I did. And someone was like, how come your t-shirt's right? Aha, you got.
It is just laugh out loud funny. I think this works better as a drinking game. In fact, I would just go out there and say like, this might be even better for people who don't play board games.
Yeah.
Just take it to a party night. Like if you're having a house party or something, you should play it with your friends there. I think the more disinhibited you are, the more fun you're probably going to have on this one, because some of them are really out there. Like you have to say some, like you have to get people to say some really random stuff.
Yeah.
Like one of my challenges was to get 3 people to say that they love me, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
That was
nobody loves Fez,
nobody loved me, man. It was so sad.
And I would have probably got that one done, to be honest with you.
No, there you go.
The meta party game of all meta party games. Right. Your number 6.
Number 6. So this ticks all the boxes for a great party game, in your opinion. Something that's laugh out loud. In your opinion,
okay.
Yes. I'm going to be surprised if this isn't on your list, but it's laugh out loud funny.
Uh-huh.
It accommodates a large player count.
Uh-huh.
It works well for people who are drinking and not drinking.
Uh-huh.
It is Telestrations.
Ooh.
It's definitely up there with the sort of 3 funniest games I've ever played in my life. Mostly because of situations I put myself in and found really embarrassing. But they were funny, so what can I say? Just to summarize, if you haven't played it, Telestrations. You're given a card with 6 options and you roll a die. And then that die denotes which one of those clues that you're going to take. So you take one of those clues, you write it down on the first page of this booklet. It's like a dry white marker booklet. And you write the clue down and then you open up to the next page. And then you start drawing that clue, but you're against the clock. What is it? It's like 60 seconds, 30 seconds, something like that. It might sound like a decent amount of time, but if you're not a very quick drawer like me, it's terrifying and it really puts the stress up, but that's totally the point in this game. Yeah. We just ignore the scoring. Just have fun with this game. Just laugh at everyone's drawings.
Yeah. And it's funnier when you're not good at drawing.
Yeah, it's way funnier when you're not good at drawing. Once your time's run out, you pass your pad on to the next person and they reveal that page of the drawing without having to look at the clue. And then they must guess what your clue is. So they write it down on the next page. And then it gets passed on to the next person who looks at the clue or the guess at the clue and then has to draw something. And it keeps going around until it's gone all the way around and it comes back to you. And you sort of score points on how accurate people were guessing your clues and seeing how it progresses. The funny part of this game is just looking at how ridiculous people's interpretations are and how ridiculous the drawings are.
The run through at the end.
The run through at the end. I have been downright abused for some of my drawings. It's been absolutely hilarious. You know, if you get somebody who's like really good at drawing, it actually makes it less funny. I think the worse you are at drawing at this one. So don't feel afraid of this game because you feel like you can't draw. It's not about people who can draw. It's fun to have somebody who can draw. We always get like Stuart who plays it and is just amazing at drawing. And everyone looks at his drawings afterwards and like, oh, that's beautiful, Stuart. And we give him a round of applause. And then, but you know, people look at mine and they laugh way more at it because it's absolutely awful. So I think I'm more entertaining than anybody else.
Do you remember your diagram of some internals of a human body? Oh god!
So I wrote I drew like a medical diagram. It made perfect sense to me.
It made no sense to anybody else.
Yeah, I think if there's somebody who was slightly scientific on the table, they probably would have been like, yes, this is. Well, I can't remember what my clue was. It was something like, oh no, it's a vein.
Yeah.
It was a vein. So I had the clue of a vein, and instead of like drawing like a hand with a big vein on it or something like that, I drew like a circulatory map of blood flow in the human body. I thought it was a perfect clue. I got absolutely torn to pieces afterwards at how terrible that clue was. But that was probably the funniest moment we've ever had playing that game. Do you not agree?
I mean, the vein clue was terrible. There was some veiny things drawn in. I will not discuss here, but I think that's another thing about the game itself. It's very group dependent. And the group can make it as adult as they want or as kid-friendly as they want. There is an After Dark edition as well, which is only for adults, 18 plus.
I haven't played that one. I don't know what it's like, but I imagine if you wanted a version, that's definitely more adult-orientated. That's probably a good one to go for.
I think the base game comes with 8 pads, but then they do an edition with 12.
Yeah, so there's an expansion that you just go, and you just buy other versions of another copy of the game, I guess.
Just buy another copy. As long as the more people there are, the more funny things you get, because as the message gets passed along, it becomes less and less like the original thing. So
I think this one works well with drinking, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. This is definitely,
but works well with
drink or no drink.
Yeah,
it
drink
works
or no drink.
absolutely brilliant for both.
Hey Sahd, why have you changed your t-shirt?
You got
Ah, no, we're still playing this. I thought we played this like 6 months ago and finished.
I never finished. Thanks for watching this far, guys. Really appreciate it.
If you want to pick up any of these party games that we talked about or any other board games and tabletop games, we stock lots of these at our own shop, Gathering Games. We're based in Skipton in North England. You can come and visit us or just shop online. Check us out at gatheringgames.co.uk. All right, let's get back to the video.
Let's see what crappy games Fez has picked. What are we on? 5? Is it my number 5?
That was my number 6.
Right. My number 5 is a brilliant little game called Cheese Thief. Oh, I love Cheese Thief.
Cheese Thief is great.
So Cheese Thief, okay. It's super quick to learn. Social deduction game. So very similar to when you have your werewolves, your mafia style games. But then it adds in those extra elements, I think, that take these modern social deduction games to a different level. What this implements is this timing mechanisms. The theme is the theme, I guess. It looks funny. In Cheese Thief, you're all a bunch of mice. And amongst you, there is one mouse who steals the cheese. You actually have a little sponge cheese cube that sits in the middle of the table. The idea is that you pass out the cards and one of you is going to be the thief, and you might even have like an assistant, or no, the mouse chooses the assistant throughout the game, depending on player count. You roll dice in a cup secretly, and it's a d6. That 1 to 6 tells you what time you wake up during the night. So everyone goes to sleep, and then it announces on the app, which is absolutely hilarious, by the way. It is a really good app, but the voice acting is so bad. It's actually good.
Yeah, so it's not actually a voice actor, is it? It's one of these like old school AI things. Right?
robots,
It's not like a modern AI one that's really convincing, right?
Yeah.
It's like this really old school one, and it's like, oh no, the cheese has been stolen.
Stolen,
And
yeah.
everyone just bursts out in laughter. I think it was just intentional, isn't it? They were just
Yeah.
like, we need to, get them laughing straight away.
I know, well, stolen works.
Stolen works, yeah.
So yeah, you all wake up at night time, and then it'll tell you 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock. The interesting thing here is now you have information. You might wake up at 3 o'clock and somebody else has woken up at 3 o'clock. Is the cheese still there? Is the cheese gone? Where's the cheese? Who took it? No, it's still there. Are you gonna take it? Am I gonna take it? This whole twist that it gives to these normal social deduction games is absolutely brilliant. And then you all wake up together, and then there's a discussion of, I saw the cheese at this time, I didn't see the cheese at that time. You might have an incident where the cheese thief wakes up and somebody else wakes up at the same time, but it's fine because the cheese thief afterwards can say, pick an associate basically. So you just pick that person as your associate. You might have an incident where 3 people wake up, you can only pick one associate. But you pick the one associate and then you gang up together on the other guy. It has some real laugh out loud moments. It's a really easy game to teach. Definitely one I highly recommend.
So I don't think it would be a party game list without a social deduction game. I feel like, the classic sort of mafia deduction game, they just don't really give you anything but pointing fingers, and it's just more like, looking at... assumptions, right?
Yeah, no information.
There's no information, but this just has such a simple and slick way to give you information, but just enough information, It doesn't give you some hard, fast clues or anything like that. It's just like, oh no. So, and sometimes you will just figure it out, sometimes you'll open your eyes at the same time as the cheese thief, and you have that awkward sort of gaze at each other, and you're like... and then you're just thinking, the person's probably thinking, like, how am I going to say it? If I say it to the other guys, they're all not going to believe me, are they?
Yeah. Oh yeah, with the less player count, you don't get the option to actually choose an associate.
Yeah.
That's why I'd recommend 6 and above. But even at 5, we've had those games where it's like,
yeah,
and you do that,
the awkward stare,
and
right?
then instantly when everyone wakes up, I saw Fez do it, even though you're the one who's stolen it. And I think one of the other things that make this game stand apart from other games is there's no elimination in this game. It's just quick. You do the round, you do the sleep phase, you wake up and quickly make your decision. Okay, I think they did it. I think they did it. I think they did it. And there's no elimination, so you won't have a situation where, okay, I think Fez has done it, let's move on to the next round, but Fez is not a part of this anymore. Like some of the old style deduction games had. I think that is really key to, why this game is so great. Fez is number 5.
Number 5. Mm-hmm. So this almost ticks all your boxes. Almost ticks all your boxes.
Okay.
It's Sheriff of Nottingham.
Mm-hmm.
Sheriff of Nottingham, it's a negotiation and bluffing game where one person will play the Sheriff of Nottingham. And the Sheriff of Nottingham is standing at a checkpoint, and there's traders trying to pass, and all the other players will be playing the traders. So you take turns, you each have a turn playing the Sheriff. The other players are playing the traders, and the traders are trying to sneak in their goods past the Sheriff. I mean, that's kind of like the whole role play sort of the game. That's kind of like the theme of it. It's really, really simple, but it just works so brilliantly to really get people in role and really having sort of like a hilarious conversation with the Sheriff. Practically how it works is that you have a bunch of cards, and some of them are contraband and some of them are good cards, or like legal items on your stall. You take whatever cards you want from your hand of cards and you pop it into a little pouch. Once everyone has chosen what goods they want to put in their pouch, they're faced with the Sheriff. So the Sheriff goes around in whatever order that they want, pick one of the traders. They have a couple of options. They can let them pass the checkpoint and say, yeah, that's fine, just come through. There's nothing suspicious in that bag whatsoever, whether they think that's the case or not. And sometimes they can challenge the trader and say, I think you've got illegal goods in there, you've got contraband, you've got weapons in there. At that point, the trader can more or less negotiate with the Sheriff however they wish to. They can give them tangible goods, they can give them favors. Tangible goods in the form of cash, I think. They can do favors, say, hey, look, you let me through this time, I'll let you through next time. And pretty much anywhere in between. This is where the beauty of the game comes out, is watching those negotiations and seeing how much people can get into their role. We had an event and there was a group playing this, and everyone was just getting so in role, doing the old school, old-timey sort of Robin Hood voices and everything. And the whole room was just watching them, having the most hilarious time watching them play. Is it the most laugh out loud game that we've ever had? It's just been absolutely hilarious whenever we've played this one.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like laugh out loud in a very evil way, but
Yeah, you're not bound to any of the negotiations that happen.
yeah, I clearly understood that rule.
Yeah, so if you have a situation with like, oh, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours, you don't actually have to scratch their back afterwards. You could just sort of gain the favor and then walk away.
Many people who've played this with me don't want to play this with me anymore.
I think this works well both as a sober and a drinking game. There's a couple of downsides I'll just quickly mention. One, the box is probably too big.
Yeah, it's massive.
So it's published by Come On, I think, at the moment.
I feel like saying, come on,
right? If they could pack this into like the experience of something like a
Decrypto or
Decrypto. I don't think it's going to get as
box.
small as like an Oink game, but like it doesn't necessarily need to be that small. But like actual sort of pocket-sized game or something like that. It'd be easier to transport, and I'd probably take this game with me more to like funny events and stuff. Actually, the other point I'll mention is it probably works best at 4 players. I haven't played it above 4 players, but I know there's a slight rule change that you do where instead of a sheriff, there's 2 sort of associates of the sheriff, and you can come to agreements on letting people pass the checkpoint. I asked you about it when you played it, and you didn't sound like you enjoyed it nearly as much as just having 4 players. So.
Is it 4 or is it 5? I can't remember. But as soon as you introduce the 2 extra characters, I don't know. It kind of lost some of that element of you fighting backwards and forwards with this one person. It loses some of the theme as well. The dynamic changed, and it didn't work quite as well. I think when there were 2 people that you were trying to convince rather than the one person. I don't know. It might work for others. It didn't work for me.
Truly laugh out loud. Probably the biggest sort of laughs we've ever had from a board game. All right, number 4.
Okay, my number 4. Is it a party game? Yeah, it's a party game. I'd say it's a party game.
All right, will you tell me, and I'll tell you if it's a party game.
Okay, I mean, party game, pub game, similar, aren't they? Somewhat.
Similar.
Yeah.
Is it Skull?
Is it what?
Is it Skull?
No, it's not. I considered it Skull though.
Okay.
It is Cockroach Poker.
Yeah, this is a party game. I'd consider it a party
I
game.
just said Cockroach Poker. I need to say that word complete before you put in, okay? Cockroach Poker has nothing to do with poker, except the bluffing part. It has bluffing, but that is about as much as it has to do with poker. It's a reverse set collection game where you're trying to force others to build a set of 4 cards of the same type to lose the game, basically. And the bluffing element in the game, I think, is just genius. This kind of, you pass a card along like this and you're like, that is a cockroach, and then the person decides on whether they accept it or call them out as a lie, which could inevitably mean that they either keep or give back that card, or they pass that card along to the next person and say, after looking at it, they can pass it to the next person and say, that is not a cockroach. Yeah, it goes around the table like that. It has some funny moments, especially when you're trying to catch out somebody's bluff on a particular card. Talk about small box game. This is literally like this big.
It's a great size box.
Tiny little thing. You can take it anywhere with you. Take it to the pub, take it to a party, take it out when you go hiking or something. You're camping on a night. It is just a brilliant little card game. For that size package, the amount of entertainment you get in that little thing, I can't think of anything else really that's made me have that much fun with the game, and it's got some really funny moments, especially when you're trying to call someone's bluff out, or that whole dynamic is it's brilliant little game.
It's one of the funniest bluffing games I've ever played, and it is dead simple. The funny thing is just like seeing the web of lies, and it eventually comes back to you, and it's just like, I bet he's been lying, and he's been telling the truth, and he's been lying, and then it's like you're all lying, and then you flip it, and then you're totally wrong. That's usually what happens with me on these sort of games. But it's a fantastic game.
Yeah,
it's got a great price on it, and it works in a lot of scenarios.
Okay, moving on to Fez, number 4.
This is my slight curveball.
Oh, curveball.
I had to look elsewhere from BGG and sort of popular lists to find this one.
Okay.
But I'm glad I remembered it, because this is one of those games that was kindly gifted to us by his chef. It is CDSK, a trivia game, and I think it's probably the only trivia game that I put in here, because it's just the best trivia game.
It is the best.
And it's actually, it came out really recently, this game. It did extremely well over Christmas, unsurprisingly. And it's just the most simple and brilliant trivia game that I've come across in so long. I mean, I don't play tons and tons of trivia, but like this game just keeps bringing me back. The beauty of its system that makes it scale so well across groups and people of different levels of general knowledge, right?
Yeah. I suck at this game.
Do you suck at it?
Oh, I'm so bad at this game.
Yeah.
I'm always like, give me number 1.
So let me just...
Sometimes that's the best thing. Okay,
let me explain how the game actually works. You are given a card, and it comes in different categories. So like the C, D, S, and K represent different categories of the different questions you can have. I can't remember what they are.
So you might have Christmas movies.
Yeah, so like the example on the back of the box is Christmas movies, and it'll say, on a scale of 1 to 10, How well do you know Christmas movies?
One.
I think you'd be pretty good
I'd
at
be
that
good
one.
at the
Right.
movie
So
category, I
then you give your score. How well do you know that subject area?
Yeah.
And then you're given a question on that same level of difficulty as
Yeah.
that score that you've given. 4 is kind of like the late end of the easy questions, and 10 can be like really challenging at
Yeah.
times. But you have to pick one of them, and then the one you choose, you score those points, and you just move along the track. It's as simple as that. But it's the fact that you have the choice of how to play this and how difficult you want to make your questions. Sometimes you just be really brave, and you're like, oh, let's go for the 10 question. Like there's a medicine question, and I literally went for the 10 question and got it. If it's a topic area that you know, then chances are you probably will get the 10 question. So they're not totally impossible. If you don't know the topic, just go for a low number and get yourself those points. Don't take risks on it.
I always take risks.
This works in a lot of scenarios, and I had this hilarious idea on one of the Commander nights at the shop. Like it's soon after April Fool, so I thought, hey, let's try mixing up the Commander night. I said to the guys playing Commander that you can tap 2 mana, and I'll give you a question on a scale of 1 to 10, and then you can deal that much damage to any target. So there's this hybrid version of CDSK and MTG that I made.
Yeah.
It's called CDSK MTG.
That's a lot of acronyms.
Copyright pending.
Yeah.
Like you can just kind of chuck this into anything, and it just makes it so much more fun. We had a right laugh when we played that. Even if you just play the game as it is, it's just so much fun. It's the best trivia game on the market.
You need to bring that home. We need to try it with Dad.
Yeah, we do. We kept saying that Dad would probably really like this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those games that's just it's gonna appeal to so much of the family. So
Yeah, I suck at it. I always go for like 5, 6, 5, 6. No, and then you move along the board depending on what you score. So I just stay in one spot and I do not move. And sometimes the strategy is best just to say 1, 1, 1, just so you can move along the board.
Yeah, because your opponent might just be really brave and they're like, oh, we're gonna go for all the 7 questions or something like that, which are tough.
Yeah,
Which are generally.
I mean, if you hit one big question, boom, 10 spots up. That's big movement.
You just let the smartest person in the room if you do get a big question as well, don't you?
We're about to discuss our 3 honourable mentions. This might be a bit of a giveaway, but Codenames is an honourable mention from me. We've spoken about it, the reason for it. I chose Decrypto. I didn't want to choose games that were too similar, I guess. Maybe. I mean, they're not even that similar. I don't know. Even though it's my second favourite game on the games we've mentioned thus far. It's, whoopsie. Brilliant game. Go check it out for all the reasons Fez mentioned. My other honourable mention is Sushi Go.
You know, I saw this one on the BGG top 100 list for party games. I don't think that's a party game. I wouldn't call that a
That's the
party game.
reason I didn't put it in the top 10, to be honest. I'm thinking card drafting, is that really going to get people laughing out loud?
I would play that as a filler game. I think it's a great filler game. And I think it's a great game. I think you should definitely have this in your collection.
It is brilliant.
I wouldn't bring this to a party though.
Yeah, it's probably not the most partiest of games.
No.
Finally, my third honourable mention is Mysterium. Mysterium is a game I absolutely adore. One person's almost like this silent DM behind a board trying to give clues to everybody so that they can move their way through this mansion almost. You know, you're moving up the levels trying to get to this final point, to the clock bit. Anyway, but yeah, it's kind of a clue-giving game similar to something like maybe Dixit in the way that you present the cards and then you're trying to give clues towards images. But it's a game very much of its own as well. The issue I've had with Mysterium is that I've had some missed games. I've had some absolute hit games. Maybe the missed games was more my fault because I decided to do things a bit different from the standard way of playing the game. It is a highly group-dependent game. With the right group, this might be the best game. But is it a party game as well? That was another thing I considered. It's not a laugh out loud type of thing. It's great for telling a story. It's great for kind of working semi-cooperatively. Yeah, ultimately there's one winner, but you almost try helping each other out. It's one of those kind of competitions where it's like you're pulling everyone else along with you, trying to help each other out. And I think that's great. The environment that creates kind of an icebreaker game as well. If there's a group you just don't know, that semi-cooperative nature of working together. I think it works well on many different bases, but I've had some missed games with it, and yeah, that's why I couldn't put it in my list.
I've actually enjoyed it generally when I have played it. You know what? I have to give the designers credit. That is a game it's quite unique. It's a really pioneering idea, sort of taking aspects of like role playing and it just is themed really cool. Like, that's one of the best like implementations of a theme ever.
Yeah. Components are awesome in
Components
it as well.
beautiful. The art's awesome. The box art is awesome. It does a lot of things right. The first time I played it, though, I remember having a conversation with you that I kind of feel like it was just missing something. I wanted something a little bit more, but it was almost there. And then I remember watching Shut Up and Sit Down's review, and they had a suggestion for a house rule. That's how we played it. I think probably the last time I played it. We played it like that. And it made the game way longer, like a lot longer. It ended up being like 3 or 4 hours that we were playing that game. And most of the group were fed up. I still think it's a way more interesting way to play that game. So if you are looking to pick that game up, why not have a look at their review? I mean, I'll just mention, is that your third honourable mention?
That was my third honourable.
It was actually an honourable mention for me as well. So I'll talk about it a little bit more now.
Yeah, go on.
Actually, it was in the party category for BGG. I don't think it's a party game. I do actually think Mysterium is a good game. I'll just mention my other honourable mentions. We've already talked about it. Dog Game Got, absolutely hilarious. I'm not sure why I didn't put it in anything for honourable mentions.
Party game or party games.
Yeah, I suppose our suggestions are probably going to be people who are generally into board games and enjoy playing board games. You could bring this to a night where you've got friends who just have no interest in board games. Probably going to still have a really great time with this. I suppose it works well as like a social lubricant, right? It gets people laughing, gets people talking, or like an icebreaker. So that's probably why I didn't put it on the list. But a great game nonetheless. Third honourable mention is Pitch Car.
Okay.
Another game we talked about in our previous video.
Check it out.
It's a dexterity game.
Yep.
I'm kind of surprised we didn't put more dexterity games in this. I think dexterity games work well as party games, right?
Yeah.
Like this works well as like a night finisher or like something to open up the night, get people loose and everything.
Get loose. I get too competitive when I play Pitch Car.
It's a lot of fun. You sort of initially set up like a big jigsaw puzzle, then you got yourself a track, and then you're flicking these discs to represent the cars and racing in this track. It's a ton of fun. Everyone who I've ever played this with is like, you need to stock this game. I'm going to buy this game immediately. It's amazing. Yeah, I've never had a game where it hasn't really landed. It's fantastic. A little bit expensive.
Yeah, it's not the cheapest game, but the components, there's proper components in there. There's big, thick, chunky pieces of wood in that box.
Yeah, a lot of love has gone into the design for it. You can tell. It deserves some mention. Right, let's get onto the meat.
The meat. Okay.
Or the tofu, depending.
The tofu.
On any dietary requirements.
Okay. My number 3 is a game that's already been mentioned. It's Telestrations.
Yeah, okay.
So you guessed right. Yeah, it is on my list, and it meets all requirements. Brilliant game. What can I say? Fez has mentioned everything. So yeah, let's make it snappy and move on.
One of the funniest games ever. I would have been surprised had it not been in your top 3, to be honest with you. So my number 3.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of overlap. I'm just looking at this list now. Okay. Is Cheese Thief. Yeah. Like I said before, there needs to be a deduction game in
I honestly thought you were going to pick a different deduction game.
Cheese Thief is just the most brilliant and the easiest one to teach, and just has enough actual substance to it that it just works well and gets people laughing. I think it's a great game.
Yeah, is that?
Yeah, I'm not going to spend any more time on it because we've talked about it at length.
Yeah. Right, that was a quick section 3. Let's move on to number 2. The rest might be just as quick now. My number 2 is a game similar to the game you've mentioned, but not the same game.
Okay.
And it's the reason I didn't mention that other game. Game is just one. Similar to So Clover, the reason I chose just one is because I think it's an easier game to teach. It's an easier game to get onto the table and just get rolling with. One person becomes the guesser. They have a card in front of them, but the card faces away from them, facing the rest of your team. I think it's probably the only cooperative game I've actually put onto my list. I think it is the best cooperative game. It's a very quick and snappy game, easy to pick up, easy to play. Drinks, no drinks, loads of players. I think it's the perfect party word game on my list. Me personally, that's why I think. But yeah, back to the game. You have a card in front of you and it faces your opponents. You have numbers top 1 to 6, I think, or 1 to 5, I can't remember. It's like 1 to 6, 1 to 7, 1 to 8. I'll show the card. You choose then, okay, I want number 3. This is already interesting in the game because sometimes you say number 3 and you see your team's reaction. Ooh, you really want number 3? Or sometimes the reaction is like, you should have picked number 2, So that's just picking a number. The rest of the team now has to give you a one-word clue, which they write onto this plastic plate, like a little triangular standee. Secretly, they don't look at each other's clue, what they've written. And then they place it face down, and when everyone's written their clues, all your teammates will reveal to each other what clues they've written. If there are any clues that are the same, both those clues get flipped down. They are not revealed to the guesser. Whatever's remaining is then shown to the guesser, and from the clues, the guesser's trying to work out what the word is. That element of if you've got 2 clues which are the same and then not revealed, usually it means that those are probably the most perfect clues as well. Or those are sometimes the most obvious clue. that might be that game-changing clue. I think that's really interesting because it starts making everyone think different. Okay, I think he might give that clue. I think they might give this clue. If I give this clue, is it something too obvious? You can't speak to each other. You can't say, I'm going to give an obvious clue, but by the way, guys, there's no discussion. So you're really trying to work out what is something different, but not so different that they're not going to guess the clue. Oh man, this is just this perfect word game. So simple. The components that they give you, the game existed before, a while before, but then Repo picked up the game and they redid it with better components and kind of more clues as well, more cards for clues. I never had a dull moment with the game. It's always interesting. Even once you're eliminated, you know, the thought process between the team, even though you can't discuss or say anything in front of the guesser, you know, the looks you're giving each other, like,
I think this is one of the easiest games to bring to the table, and it sort of reliably lands. I don't think there's anybody who really just doesn't immediately get this game. I did really like this one. I haven't mentioned it so far, and I didn't actually include it on my list because I thought you probably would. Soul Clover definitely has more hurdles to get over, and it doesn't always land. I just find it a little bit more interesting.
It's mechanically a better game.
Yeah,
I'd agree on that.
But the simplicity is what probably will do it for most people for just one. Great game, great pick.
Yeah. What's your number 2?
I think this is going to be your number 1. The game is Coup. It's a bluffing game more than anything, isn't it? It's a little bit hard to describe, kind of why I was kind of going backwards and forwards of whether I want to include it on our list, because it might sit better as a filler game, but the fact that it's a bluffing game probably works well as a party game too. And then I was scrolling on BGG and then I just saw it on the party section. So like, yeah, that's fine. If BGG agrees, then I'll put this as my number 2. It's the first game that I think I ever bought when I was sort of getting back into board games around the pandemic. Is it your most played game of all time?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, so it probably should be your number 1. It has this kind of interesting cyberpunk setting, at least the British version. Supposedly the Brazilian version has a different artwork and theme. You get to choose between these different options of roles, or like you represented by these officials, like court officials or something. You've got people like the Duke and the Assassin and stuff. You have a selection of these, and you have like a reference card so you can look at what they do. So they each have like different abilities. Now there's a couple of actions you can take. You can just take some credits from the center. You take like 1 credit, I think, or you can take 2 credits if you're a Duke. You get 2 of these officials cards and you place them face down in front of you. Throughout the game, you can bluff to be any one of those. You're like Sahd and you play through it, you will pretend to be every single one of them to try and confuse your opponent. The way you bluff that is by trying to take one of their actions. When you take an action which requires the ability of one of those court officials, you can be challenged on your action. Somebody could call you out and say that you're bluffing. If that is the case, then you have to reveal one of the cards. That card disappears. If you lose both of your cards, then you immediately lose the game. But if somebody challenges you and you do actually have that card, then you just flip that card over and you show them, look, I am actually that person, so I can do that action legally. And then the opponent that challenged you is going to lose a card. I think there's just the perfect amount of complexity in this one for me. But, you know, I also veer towards reasonably complex games, so that's probably why this appeals to me. Do you think this works as a drinking game?
Yeah, it can do, because it's bluffing.
Yeah, I think it can. Like, people have drinks when they're sort of playing poker and stuff like that. So I think if you enjoy that sort of experience,
I wouldn't say heavy drinking, but
I think this game would probably work really well for you. I think it just takes a round for everyone to sort of grasp it, but it's quite easy when you have the reference cards in front of you. Everything's sort of explained to you and you can always refer to it. There's just a deep amount of strategy in this game for something that's so simple, such a small box that you can literally fit in your pocket. There is definitely like strategies you can take to try and get really good at this game the same way like poker. I think the problem is when I'm playing poker, and I think poker's a great game. I really like the bluffing aspect of I like bluffing games overall. I never remember all the hands. I don't play poker frequently enough, and I can't say off the top of my head what all of the actions of cards do. But the reference card, you literally just need to glance at it once, and then that's like, yeah, I've got this. And I think that's one of the reasons why it works. It's simple enough, but it's also deep enough that it gives you a really deep, complex game that you're definitely gonna have a few rounds with it. It's such an easy recommend, unless you really just don't like bluffing game. I think most people are really gonna enjoy this one. Come on, it must be your number 1.
Is that what you're guessing for?
Yeah, it has to be your number 1. It's your most played game.
Are we guessing each other's number 1?
Right, so that's my guess of yours, and you can guess mine afterwards.
I'm afraid not first.
Is it not?
No.
Did you not?
But you have already mentioned my number 1.
How did you not mention Coup?
Rhino Hero.
Oh, okay.
I know Coup, right? I've played it like the most I've played any game ever. I take Coup seriously. How dare you call it a party game?
But it's a great party game. It's a great party game.
Yeah, I guess. I went for something lighter. I did think about it. I'm not gonna lie. My number 1 is Rhino Hero.
Yeah, did I take all the lightning from this one? I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I said it too soon.
I think you've mentioned it all about Rhino Hero already, but I'm gonna make some points on it because it is my number one, and I can't say nothing about Rhino Hero. I love Rhino Hero. I've had some of the best moments with Rhino Hero, some of the most laugh out loud moments. Just watching that tower building up, the intensity of wanting somebody just to drop it, and then it comes back to you, and you're like, oh god, it's gonna be me who drops this, and then hopefully you don't, but yeah, it usually is me who drops it. Talked not about having too many dexterity games. This is a dexterity game.
Yeah, actually, I totally forgot that.
Lovely to watch you build up this tower, becomes such this grand kind of central piece on the board. I've played it, at expos, and people walk by like, oh, what's gonna happen? I've walked past people playing Rhino here like, oh, what's happening over here? You're just always itching to want to put something on top of that thing. The supersized version that we spoke of earlier on as well, Super Battle. Yeah, I really want that. I want it so bad.
It's a brilliant game, and it just added a little bit more depth to the game. Is that a party game then? Because I feel like it's added a bit more complexity to it.
Yeah, it adds the complexity. I think just as a little box, get up and go, take it anywhere you want. Rhino is absolutely perfect. I just want Super Battle for my own collection, really. I don't have it. Can you believe that? After all these years, I never picked her up. This is the only game in my list that actually breaks one of my rules.
What rule is that?
It plays up to 5.
Is that it?
Yeah, it doesn't play
I feel like it probably
5.
should play more than 5.
I don't know. I mean, I actually prefer Rhino Hero at like 3 players.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes more intense because once you feel like you've got away from it, that turn back to you is so far away. When there's only 3 of you, I haven't really gotten away with it yet. It could come back. That level of intensity from having 3, I think, works best. But it can play up to 5. It is the game that breaks my rules. I don't really care. I love the game. I think it's brilliant, and I'd take it to every party, really. It's just one of those type of games. Sometimes we've had a game where somebody's won because they've discarded all their cards, but we don't care. He'll just pick up more cards and we just keep building. We just want to see how tall we can make it sometimes. Yeah, Rhino Hero. Get it.
It's a fantastic
brilliant game. Shall I guess your number 1?
I think I've given some great clues as to what my number 1 is.
Oh, you've given me
I think so,
towards
yeah.
It. I think I know it. Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's going to be funny. There's going to be like a tally, isn't there? How many times Sahd successfully guessed Fez's top 3.
2 out of 2.
We've talked a lot about Deception.
Yes.
But I'll go with the assumption that the viewer hasn't watched anything of us talking about Deception. Deception in Hong Kong is a social deduction game.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best social deduction game on the market. And the reason it is the best social deduction game on the market is because it adds a lot more substance to the whole genre compared to its competitors, which are mostly just sort of pointing fingers and making assumptions. Like we were talking about with Cheese Thief. Deception and Murder in Hong Kong, you're all playing detectives. And there's been a murder. There's a crime scene, and then there's a means to murder, and then there's a clue associated with the murder or something like that. And you've got 2 sets of cards. Everyone has these 2 sets of cards. And among you, there'll be one murderer. One person will be like the game master, called the forensic scientist. The forensic scientist is giving clues throughout it. Has to give the clues silently, so it has a bunch of cards which it's giving the clues on. Some of the clues might be good, some of them might be total rubbish. You don't really know what's coming. Progress throughout this game, and everyone's getting clues and trying to figure out, decipher who exactly the murderer is. But not just that, you have to figure out the correct combination of clues, and you only get a yes or a no on each of the guesses, and you've only got 1 guess per person. So you have your badge token, and you throw in your badge and say, this is the person with this clue and this clue. Whether you're right or you're wrong, or how right or wrong you are, you don't know. You're just told you're right or you're wrong. And it really just encourages this intense level of discussion that you just don't get from the other social deduction games. Like, it just does it way better and way more interesting. And I've never seen people get so invested in like a social deduction game. I think social deduction games are really fun. I'm going to exclude Blood on the Clock Tower from this because I haven't yet played Blood on the Clock Tower.
Yeah, I've heard great things about it.
People get so hooked into this. They get the clues and they're trying to put the pieces together. Sometimes they're just miles off, and sometimes they're absolutely bang on, and it can just make you tremble when somebody's figured you out so quickly, or just given like the best clues. I'm guessing you didn't include this on your list because you didn't feel like it's a party game.
This was the only game where I thought Fez is going to pick it. Therefore, I didn't feel bad about not picking it.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Because I thought you were going to mention it. It is my favourite social deduction game out of every social deduction game I've played thus far, more than Cheese Thief. I just think for me personally, if I'm going out to a group, I would probably take Cheese Thief.
So I took this on a night. It was like a party night, so it's kind of, there's quite a lot of people here. It landed so well.
The intensity it creates compared to any other social deduction game I've played.
That's all.
On another
like
level.
they just wanted to play that all night long.
Yeah.
We just played round after round to the point where it's just like everyone's tired and want to go to sleep. So like it wasn't that they got bored of the game at all. Other social deduction games, they don't necessarily land as well because of the lack of substance on them. Like I'm being a little bit unfair.
Yeah.
But I think Deception has more substance in it and more reasons for you to carry on playing. and more systems in it that interest you to keep on playing, that sort of leads to you wanting to play that game more and more, and after a game after game. Where I think it kind of falls flat after like a couple of games or another social deduction game.
Yeah.
Can you think of a time that it just hasn't landed for you?
I've never had a bad game of it.
And I've thrown it in a lot of situations. It just always seems to deliver. I've never not wanted to play that game.
Yeah.
When it comes to the table, I'm just like super excited. I'm like, yes. It can be fun to just be the forensic scientist in that sometimes as well, can't it?
Yeah, I quite enjoy being the first.
So do I, yeah.
Just seeing everyone else's.
Just seeing everyone
knowing
else's
what's actually happening, and you know, it's like you're watching it from like when you watch traitors on TV or something. You're watching this whole thing play out in front of you.
Yeah, you like Claudia Winkleman at that point.
Yeah, you are. You're the Claudia Winkleman.
I feel like you should wear a wig that is Claudia Winkleman's hair if you do that. All our North American viewers aren't going to understand what we're saying, so just quickly Google Claudia Winkleman.
Yeah, BBC.
And then
Traitors.
I'm sure you'll be laughing.
They've got BBC America.
Have they?
Yeah.
No, but they have their own version of Traitors as well. They have
Do
American
they?
Traitors. Yeah.
Okay.
Deception just brings this like really cinematic feeling game. Like one of the best things about that game is just how everyone sort of really engrosses themselves in this role. Like you just sat there in like some crime drama or some movie or something like that,
absolutely.
right?
There's often these overlaps between these board games and movies, and I absolutely adore that, especially when I find the links between them. In fact, I've even made a video about exactly that, so go check it out over there, about two things I absolutely adore, which is movies and board games. Board games first.
If you've had enough of Sahd today and just don't want to see his face anymore, then just click over here for an even more interesting video about our tier list.
I was in that video as well, Fez.
Yeah, but you know, I talked over you mostly. So
Yeah.
anyway, thank you so much for watching.
Keep it GG.